Hi, and welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that have been linked with a summer transfer move to Arsenal. First of all, before we get into the transfers, bit disappointing yesterday. Arsenal dropping points at home after we worked so hard to get back into the game, dropping points to Fulham. I think 2-2 is probably a deserved result. Fulham played all right on the day. And yet again, Arsenal conceding these early goals. Again, how many more times are we going to do it? Early sloppy goals, which then puts us under pressure at home. Why is it that away from home, we can defend so well? We've kept more clean sheets than any other team over the past season or so. But at home, we can't keep a clean sheet. It's really, really baffling. And another thing that came under scrutiny yesterday was the tactics of Mikel Arteta. Went for this formation again of playing Thomas Partey as a sort of right back who then drops into midfield. Kivior was in the back sort of that, once Partey drops into the midfield, it was a back three of Kivior, Saliba, and Ben White. No Gabriel yet again. And there was a lot of fans not too happy about the fact that Gabriel didn't start. Although, let's remember, Gabriel started in the game last year, and it was his mistake that gave away the first goal against Fulham. But he did score the winning goal in that game. And also, if he was on the pitch, don't you think we would have been a bit better organised from that corner? Because one of the things about Gabriel, whether it's attacking corners or defending corners, he's strong. That's a strong area for him. And he's a good organizer in those sort of situations. Now, Gabriel not being in the side yet again. This is 3 Premier League games that we started. Gabriel has not started in any of these games. Gabriel was a literal fixture last season where he started practically every single Premier League game. One of the first players on the team sheet. Many people were saying, give him the captaincy. Ironic, isn't it, that 2 players, Kieran Tierney, we used to say give the captaincy, he's gone, and Gabriel, give him the captaincy, maybe it's the curse of the captaincy again. But now, not figuring any of the first 3 games, baffling for me yesterday because Kivior, he's good, but he's not a better defender than Gabriel. And again, the rumours, flying around out there that he could be on his way out of Arsenal. Now, Mikel Arteta has already said he's not being sold. There's been bids from Saudi Arabia. I think it was Al Ittihad, who were really, really hot for Gabriel, and that was turned down by Arsenal. They said he was not for sale under any circumstances, even if it was 170 million pounds, which is 200 million euros. Arsenal are not interested in selling Gabriel. But the longer he's not in the team, does it start to look like he could be on his way out? Because we heard that, Mikel Arteta saying, listen, Kieran Tierney's a big part of Arsenal's plans. Tierney's gone. I'm a bit worried about it because, I want Gabriel not only to stay at Arsenal, but to start for Arsenal. Should we be worried that he could leave Arsenal before the end of the transfer window? As I said, Arsenal adamant he's not going anywhere. Could it just be a sort of experiment that the manager's doing at the start of the season, but then Gabriel will figure? It's weird because he started in all the games pre-season. Now, of course, the other thing we've got to take into account is that the Saudi transfer window closes 2 weeks after the Premier League window. That means these rumours could continue after then. Gabriel himself could turn around and say, you know what, actually, if I ain't getting guarantees on starting here, I want to leave. These are all the sort of issues that could be thrown up over the next week or so. I mean, as I said, Al Ittihad were the team that were trying to sign him. Looks like they've turned their attentions to Sergio Ramos, so maybe that won't happen. But there are other teams in Saudi Arabia that are interested in Gabriel. Real Madrid have shown an interest after their injury to Militao in Gabriel as well. He's just burst into the Brazilian national team. He'll want to stay there. I mean, as I said, I'm hoping I'm hoping that, I'm worrying for no reason, but it is 5, 6 days to go until the end of the transfer window, and you can't rule it out completely. And you don't know what's going through the head of the manager at the moment. Is he looking at it and thinking, right, we could do better than Gabriel? Or is he just looking, it's purely tactical at the moment? Gabriel, chill, you'll be back in the team. We'd love to get your guys' thoughts on it, but still lots of rumors flying around about Gabriel today, and the fact that he could leave the club. I spoke about this one yesterday and this player being linked, and it's still heavily out there today. Even some outlets suggesting that Arsenal are preparing a bid for Eric Garcia of Barcelona, defender, 22 years of age. Remember, he used to play for Manchester City before he transferred to Barcelona. Has been used occasionally by them. He's not a regular starter from them since he signed from Manchester City in 2021 on a 5-year contract. Told you yesterday about this crazy 400 million euros release clause he's got, but Barcelona would be prepared to let him go probably for about 10 million pounds. And Arsenal have been looking at the possibility of maybe bringing him in on a loan with maybe an option to buy. And as I said, outlets saying today that Arsenal could be preparing a bid. We know that we're looking for cover for Urian Timber, who's out for a whole season. A loan deal would be very attractive to Arsenal. Don't rule this one out. Garcia would like to stay at Barcelona, but don't rule this one out. And we know that Mikel Arteta is looking for players that are versatile, that can play, both as on that right-sided side of a centre-back, or also as a right-back. So we mustn't rule this one out completely, but still being linked today, Eric Garcia. One player that we're not going to get is Ivan Fresneda. We've been linked with this kid since January, heavily linked. There were suggestions that Arsenal made a bid for him at that time, which was turned down. Fresneda again was back on Arsenal's list throughout the summer, but now he's moving to Sporting CP. He's going to be moving to Sporting Lisbon in Portugal for a reported fee of around £8.5 million. So Arsenal obviously sort of passed up on the Fresneda deal, and Fresneda will be joining Sporting over there in Portugal. So that is definitely one player that we're not going to be signing. Another Gabriel is on Arsenal's radar, and that's Gabriel Moscardo of Corinthians. 17 years of age, turning 18 in September. Brazilian defensive midfielder. Now, according to the Brazilian outlet Lance, they're saying that Arsenal are looking at him heavily. They're very interested in him. Their representatives, Arsenal's representatives, have been talking to Corinthians. Now, he's a very highly rated youngster. Manchester City have also been previously interested, and there's supposed to be a whole host of clubs right around European football that would like to bring him in. He's only 17, as I said, turning 18 in September, and he's only made around about 8 appearances for the first team, but very highly thought of, and rumours that Arsenal are looking at him, and you never know, could be another one of those surprises at Arsenal spring before deadline day. As I said, very young player indeed. At 17, just turning 18, but Arsenal are a very young side. So let's see what happens with that one. And Matteo Guendouzi, interesting this one. Not moving back to Arsenal, but leaving Marseille and joining Lazio for 18 million euros. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning this one is because Arsenal have a sell-on clause inserted into his contract. So again, good bit of business by Arsenal. They're going to make some profit out of this move with Guendouzi moving to Lazio. A bit of a surprise move for me, but again, Guendouzi is one of those players that got all the talent, but it just, I don't know, with managers, it just doesn't happen with him, so Guendouzi on the move yet again. So listen, we've only got around about 6 days to go now until the end of the transfer window. The transfer window closes on Friday at 11 p.m. What do Arsenal need? I know about the outgoings, but I'd like to ask you guys today, what do Arsenal need before the end of the transfer window? You've seen us now 3 games into the season. We haven't been at our best. I think personally the best performance was the game against Palace, because that's the only game that I saw Arsenal really in control of the game. The performance yesterday, listen, on another day we win that game. We created so many chances. We should really have got out there with a win. But again, defensively weren't great. Do Arsenal need to, strengthen in some of those defensive areas? Do Arsenal need another attacker? Do we need another player in midfield? I would really like to hear from you guys. And if so, who? Because targets are just disappearing. Kudos is going to West Ham. They're disappearing left, right, and centre. So who will Arsenal bring in before the end of the transfer window? Would love to hear from you guys. Thanks for watching the show, and I'll see you tomorrow.